That there.
In April, we were loading up the van so that Kiwi,
He's a good girl.
Hayden, Graham,
Is that battle cover, the problematic YouTuber?
and I could head to Scouring of Cheshire for our 3rd consecutive year. This is an 800-point Mesbigger tournament. It is 6 rounds over 2 days in the finest gaming venue that Stockport, North England, has to offer. We would not be camping in Stockport for reasons I don't think I need to verbalise. We'd be staying, as we always do, at Newfold Farm Campsite in the Hope Valley, Peak District. Welcome to Battle Camper. After some struggle, we miraculously managed to set up the tent. Then, it was the pub.
I had a panic about it and cancelled it.
Now, this is one of my favourite pubs in the whole goddamn world, not least because they do the best sausage and mash I've ever tasted.
Eat your peas, Graham.
But also because there's always a healthy amount of dogs. Once they'd got their car working, we were joined by Stuart, Toby, and Joss. Their arrival was fortuitous because together we won the pub quiz. 4 free meals, more sausages on Sunday.
Are we in? No.
I love these pre-tournament evenings, full of excitement and tactical chatter. Stuart is a strong player, but respectably he'd committed to a fluffy list which was meant to be what if the 3 hunters had met with Angmar and the Riders before they put the Uruks to the slaughter. Toby had brought a 74 model Moria list called Oops All Goblins, and for her first event Joss had brought the Dead of Dunharrow. Hayden had brought the Return of the King Legendary Legion, and Graham had brought the same list he took the first year, just copied and pasted over, basically because he didn't want to paint any other models. After that, it was finally time for a good night's rest ahead of the challenge tomorrow. The next morning, the sun rose over my filthy, filthy windscreen, and I was excited beyond words to be back playing Middle-earth strategy battle game. Just as a reminder, as always, all my miniatures are assigned to Patreons to find out who's lucky and who's unlucky and reward great deeds. There are some new assignments in the list today, both because I've got some new miniatures and because a few old patrons have dropped out, so their models have been given to new blood. I'll just name the key miniatures now and the rest will come up as and when relevant. My list is Assault Upon Helms Deep, and we'll start with a captain with crossbow leading 12 crossbow-toting Uruk Hai. He belongs to Patrick Lundqvist. My leader is the special captain from the Legion. He's got a shield, and he leads 4 Uruk Hai Berserkers, 8 Uruk Hai with pikes, an Uruk Hai with banner, and a bomb team. He belongs to Dan Marshall. Next we've got my green stuffed captain. He's just a regular captain with shield. He leads 3 Berserkers, 4 Uruks with shields, and 4 Uruks with pikes. It is his first appearance on the channel, and he belongs to James Russell. The siege veteran on the right who's not pointing belongs to Doc Munoz, and the siege veteran on the left who is pointing belongs to Sam Gibbs. Finally, the bomb squad, who I have high hopes for. The 2 Uruk Hai with flaming brands belong to Chris Miller and Daniel Rowlett. The Berserker with flaming brand belongs to Daniel Harker. I'm also going to assign the bomb itself, which I think has the capacity to be MVP. And that's going to go to Tobias Kirchner. If you're a Patreon and have not read your name, you're probably still in there. There's just a lot of models to go through. So with all that sorted, we left the beauty of the Hope Valley and we stumbled into the familiarity that is the Element Games car park. I then reacquainted myself with some of the beautiful tables you have the opportunity to play on at Scouring of Cheshire, and that's an opportunity I sincerely hope I get to take. And then we ploughed in to Game 1. Now, my opponent in Game 1 preferred not to be filmed, which is perfectly understandable, and it means you'll just have to take my word for it that I smashed it. Sadly, I couldn't get the bomb to detonate, but I got a 10-0 victory, and we went on to Game 2. Heirlooms, a notoriously swingy mission. There'll be 6 objective markers on the table. Each represents a dig site at which a precious heirloom may be hidden. After moving into contact with a token, a model may roll a die, and on a 6, it is the heirloom. On a 1 through 5, the token is nothing and is removed. I therefore put my faith in a higher power and decided to place my tokens next to my ballistas.
In the hope that I'm going to be...
sitting cowardly back there.
Yep. If this backfires, then I'm putting all of my eggs in one very expensive basket, but we're going to give it a go.
Of all the scenarios in the matched play guide, this is probably the most controversial. Consensus seems to be that it is the one that is most determined by random chance and least by the player's skill. That might be to my benefit, because my opponent was Stuart, who had come along to the pub with us. Like I said, he's pretty good, which isn't ideal for me. He had Angmar with 15 Riders of Rohan, one with a banner, and then the 3 Hunters, and that was it.
I do feel like this one's going to be won or lost in the Maelstrom.
Oh yeah. Yeah, priority.
Good luck. Have fun.
You too.
I'm on a 4.
Well, I'll beat you there, which is
Not ideal for you.
all right. So let's start with Eomer and his big old warband.
Okay.
3. Yeah, I'll spend a singular might
Let's go north or south.
to go north or south. Yeah.
So deployment has finally begun in earnest, and on the screen there is the orientation we decided upon for the Maelstrom deployment board edges.
You coming up over here?
I would like to just rock up there and be within charge range of the ballista.
And that's exactly what he did, meanly piling up all his horses in that bottom left-hand corner. And then it was time for Aragorn to roll.
Here he is. 5. You choose north or south, I think.
No, that's 4.
Oh, you
That's
choose east or west. So let's see where he's going to arrive. Oh, what a surprise!
Let's just prod him around.
Scenario.
Right, so let's go with Gimli.
Yep. 2. So I choose, unless you want to mite it down. Or
Could might it up.
You could mite it up, spend a couple of mites.
Do we spend all might to have him come on with his friend Aragorn? Yes, we do.
So he's out of might. Nice. I respect that. I do. I really do.
And a leggy. 3.
So I'm choosing, unless you might again.
I'll might again. But...
So, Angmar spent 1.
Oh yeah.
Gimli spent all of them.
Oh yeah. And leggy spent 1.
Leggy spent 1.
Oh yeah.
Very good.
So Leggy, last to arrive, came on at the northern board edge. My ballistas were in some trouble.
And then your deployment.
Start with my biggest warband. My second. My non-leader Uruk Hai captain with shield. 2. So he could spend all of his might in order to get on.
All the cool players are doing it.
Let's burn it.
So my now mightless captain brought his Uruks on in that bottom right hand corner. You can't see it yet because the camera's not in the right place, but you will be able to, I promise.
Next warband.
Crossbow toting captain. Oh, I thought it was going to be a 6 then.
Pick 3.
I'm going to might up 1. So that's like half of my captain's might's gone already.
This time I completed the process of sandwiching in this little group of riders down here on the left. They were now completely trapped between 2 warbands. Further, it would stop them from dashing off to every objective and digging them all up until they found the one they wanted.
Leaders warband.
Big leaders warband. Is having a 1. All the might?
But he's only got 2.
Oh, so it'd only get to a 3, so it'd still be my choice.
We'll leave it as 1. Shooting.
Oh, lovely.
This ballista can't get anyone within 6 inches, so we'll whack one at Angmar. On a 5.
I got a 2 for the scatter roll, leaving Stuart to choose a target within 3 inches of Angmar.
Sure, I'll just choose this guy at the back if he's in range.
Okay, so I've got in the ways for Angmar and this guy here.
Sure.
So for Angmar, that's failed, so it does hit Angmar.
Does it aim it?
So 6 inches back, D6
Yep.
inches back, sorry.
2 whole inches.
So it just hits this guy here.
Yep.
He's dismounted.
Oh, yeah.
He takes strength 9 hit on the rider.
Yep.
No. And then a strength 6 on the rider behind him. He's dead.
Yep, he's dead.
So we've got a prone Angmar and a dead rider.
A decent opening salvo for this ballista led by the pointy siege veteran. But with Legolas bearing down from one side and Aragorn and Gimli from the other, we were still a long way from being out of the woods. With that being the case, the second ballista would try and get Aragorn off his horse.
4 to hit. To hit. You've got an in the way for probably this crew member here.
Yep.
So hits the crew member. Crew member gets launched.
1 inch.
An inch. No. So he falls just short of Gimli. Does he die?
Yes.
He does die. That was a mistake. Cool. Crossbows can't shoot because we've just moved on. So we're on to priority turn 2.
I've got all my shooting.
You've got you have spears.
It was also my priority, I remember.
It was your priority. And you quickly. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
These trapped riders retaliated by throwing their spears at the crossbow-toting Uruks, but failed to kill a single one. Leggy did manage to, however, pop one of the crew members on this right-hand ballista. That's an issue. I lose one more and the whole thing's basically useless.
Priority.
Now it's priority. Come on, big one, please. Oh, not great. 2. Oh, it's good enough. Any heroics of yourself?
Yeah, probably. I will call a move with Eomir, who's now conveniently slightly further back.
All right, not a lot I can do about that. We will let you have that.
Sure.
I mean, I say let you. I literally have no choice. But,
All right.
With his move, Éomer forced his riders to move in and snort up as many of those tasty charge bonuses as he could, leaving a few back as a rearguard for my big warband that will be showing up later this turn. Or at least I hope they will. Then it was my turn to do some muscling in, which is exactly what I did, leaving just a couple of Uruks to rush off and try and pick up some of the objectives. On the ballista nearest to Aragorn and Gimli, one of the crew members abandoned his post in order to tag those heroes up, because otherwise they'd simply move in and kill both of them, which meant that that one wasn't firing as early as turn 2. It was then time for my final warband. I rolled a 3 again, but burned all of my might so that I could bring them on from here, because of course this is the warband with the bomb, and I quite liked the idea of dropping it at Aragorn and Gimli's feet. So I brought my largest warband on and even further sandwiched in the Rohirrim, and afterwards I was starting to feel quite a lot more confident.
have you got any? You've not got any moves left, have you?
I've just got Leggy.
After Leggy moved, Stuart declared he was going to take an ambitious shot at my Berserker with a flaming brand. Those were ill tidings indeed, but there was not a lot I could do about it.
We've got to put faith in the dice now.
For anyone who's wondering why, this is a big roll. For an Uruk to detonate the bomb, they have to pass a courage check. Berserkers are courage 7, whereas the regular Uruks are only courage 3. So if he takes out the one Berserker with the flaming brand, it's going to become a lot more difficult.
All right, no shots from me. You take it away.
All right then. Battle Camper Purple.
Oh, do not betray me, Battle Camper Purple. I'll regret giving you those dice.
Oh, straight off.
It was a 1. Oh. Swap your dice.
No. 6.
Oh.
We hit.
You've hit.
So we now need
D6.
6s. Yeah.
My heart. No! I need a 6.
You got the 6. You got the Fury save.
I can't believe it. You're such an asshole. Oh, it flashed! Oh no! So we're on to the fight phase, which means
The bomb.
You can tell I'm stressed there by how my voice breaks on the word fight.
the fight phase. All right, courage check. He's courage 3. He needs a 7. Needs a 7? Needs a 7.
7 needs a 7.
That's a 5! Oh no! It's gone wrong!
I'll declare a free combat
Yeah.
with Aragorn's free one.
Oh no! Yeah, okay, there's nothing I can do about that. And I've got no might to spend on that captain. So I think we crack on with your free heroic.
Okay, I don't mean to get judgy, but to the 3 Bomb Crew Patreons, Chris, Daniel and Daniel, you do just need to put the effort in. You're all new Patreons, but you know, your actions will impact on all of us. I think we need to see at least one big detonation, and then we can move past this. You won't be surprised to hear that Aragorn and Gimli made short work of their Uruk and went off to find other targets up the line. It was okay though. I was hoping to do a serious amount of damage to the riders here, as I'd called a heroic and moved in all my crossbow-toting Uruks. It didn't really work out that way. I killed no riders amongst that group, but lost an Uruk in return. However, amongst the Uruks that Stuart had charged with, he lost 2 riders and killed only 1 Uruk in return, so, you know, swings and roundabouts. It was safe to say that things weren't quite going to plan, but all of that was about to change. You see, after I got priority next turn and just shuffled in to lock up all the riders, and there was an uneventful shoot phase, my dice got hot. After a single round of combat, the board went from looking like this to like this. You'll notice a conspicuous absence of Riders of Rohan.
That is me well and truly broken, I believe.
Hell,
1,
that
2, 3,
was
4, 5, 6, 7,
utterly
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
hideous. Okay, so you're broken, but we're not quartered yet.
6, no, I'm 1 off.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Jesus
1, 2.
All right, well, priority.
Priority.
Good luck. I think you need this one. And that's how you do it.
That's how we get it.
At this point, Stuart was understandably in damage control mode.
Alright, so I think the only thing I can realistically do to not entirely lose horrifically is to go here and roll a 6.
And dear, come on, I'm hoping for it, I'm wishing for it.
Alright, so purple battle camper.
Will you betray me again, purple
Here we
battle
go.
camper? Oh my god! Every roll that battle camper dice has done, I cannot. I'm so sorry for screaming at everyone. That is unreal. Right, now that's made it really interesting.
Yeah.
Because if I kill you this turn.
Yeah.
So realistically, the only thing I could do was gang up on Gimli and try to lock down every other model, and that is exactly what I did. It is all in that one combat now. Whilst I successfully locked all of the riders down and kept Irma out of the fight, I knew there'd be an Aragorn-shaped heroic combat to come, and even without help, Gimli had the fight value. Aragorn quickly dispatched his Uruks and made his way over to Gimli's combat. It then came to the dwarf himself, the combat that would decide the game.
I'll go 2 axe in each hand.
Fine. So purples are my non-leader.
Yep.
And 3 is my leader. White's my leader, what am I talking about? Starts on 6.
I'm on a 5.
Ooh, I've got it.
Yeah, you've got it.
Now if I can just kill him, I win.
What's his defense?
8.
So 6 is all around.
Yeah.
1
wound. I'll take the wound.
And that was realistically it. I did all the damage in the world, but a clutch 6 from Gimli saved the day. It was of course my own damn fault for not guarding that objective. I simply trusted in the fact it was unlikely he'd get a 6 on his first attempt. It was an extremely fun game, and with Stuart's meme list and game style, I think he was the deserving winner. Still, that's the second game without me getting the bomb off, and I am miffed. One more chance for this first day. My next game was against Stephen, and it's a scenario that, when I'm playing my beloved Rohan, is all too easy. Seize the prize. It's a classic. We've got to get to that little token in the middle there, grab it, and try and hoik it off the opponent's table edge. If you're just in possession of it at the end of the game, you'll still get some points. Sauron was joined by a Wraith and an Orc captain. I deployed my triggeringly large ranged section on the back line, ready to turn this little central alley here into a killing field. My crossbows should turn the Orcs into mulch, and even Sauron the Deceiver has to be a bit wary of the double ballista sweatbox. Mordor's shooting section was, frankly, not quite as impressive. As the game started, every captain on the table called a march. Everyone was pelting it for the centre. The Wraith on the right flank led 3 Morgul Knights, no doubt trying to get some traps and cause some problems later in the game. And of course, in the long march to the centre, I dragged my bomb along with me, doing my best not to block the view of my Balistas as they tried to get clear shots at whatever Orc they could.
Shooting then.
Yeah.
I'll start with the crossbows, and I'm basically targeting the Numenoreans. So hit on 4s. Oh, that's 3 hits. It's pretty good. Killing on 5s. No.
The second volley got 1, and the third volley got another 1. The first ballista then killed 3 Orcs on the back line, and the second one killed 2 Black Numenoreans and knocked a third prone. Already, in only the opening volley, that entire flank is either now dead or on the ground.
The wing's just been cleared out already.
Yep.
Just rubbing salt in the wound there. Sadly, Stephen's shooting wasn't quite as effective.
No! Orc shooting!
Dude, I'm so sorry. Cool. Okay.
Awesome.
Now priority turn 2.
Now the priority.
1 on 1. 1 on 1. I had last turn, so it's yours.
Yes, heroics for you.
Well, I was going to, but actually I don't know how necessary it is now that we've nerfed this chunk here.
So Team Evil moved first, and even with the pummeling they'd taken last turn, an Orc captain managed to get onto the objective and dig it up. And of course, that Orc captain did have to withstand the artillery barrage for the turn. On the other side of the big central rock, the Orc line moved towards my advancing Uruk Hai. Sauron was petrified of the 2 Ballistas and stayed hidden behind the rock. On the far side, the Wraith was leading his Morgul Knights past the ruins and into the fray. Then it was time for those 3 little Orc bowmen to have another go at shooting. They were looking to claim a Berserker scalp.
Ooh, we got 1. D6 against shooting. Oh! Wow. 6 up Berserker save.
Expected.
It's a cocked dice.
Well cocked.
Oh, it flashed for a second. Which one do you want?
We'll go for this guy.
This guy here.
Then, it was my turn.
Here we go.
Here we go. Right. Crossbows first. Obviously on your captain here.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty good. 3 hits. That's 1 wound on him.
Uh-oh. I will fate it. Nope.
No, so 1 wound left and no fate.
Yep.
Second 4. That's 3 hits again. Bloody hell, I'm absolutely nailing these. And that's another wound.
Oh, he is gone.
To add insult to injury, I then went on to kill the last Numenorian in that central bunch, and I hadn't even fired the Balistas yet.
I missed. The Balistas.
Womp womp.
This one can just about see Sauron within
Oh,
an
no,
away
really?
from the rock. Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Oh, bugger.
So
Okay.
we will give Sauron a go.
Makes sense.
That's a hit.
Yep.
A 1. I can reroll that for the Legion. Oh!
Okay.
The only target this one really has is these guys here. So we've got the front one here, a bit OP. It's a hit.
Yep.
It's a 3, so you can choose which one it goes on.
Might as well go on the back one.
Back one, in the way for the front one. They fail, so it's one. flings him 6 inches. Doesn't kill him, so he's going to
wow.
go 6.
Okay.
And does it kill the guy at the back? Yes. So he's going back 6 inches. It's a bit brutal so far.
It has.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Might get quarked before anyone gets to.
It may be actually, yeah. Okay. Priority.
Yes.
6.
6 you, the 4.
Any heroics from you?
In my move phase, I hiked up the prize and surrounded it with my Uruk Hai. Realistically, that set the tone for the rest of the game. Stephen admirably carried on, but even Sauron can't just barge his way through enemy forces forever. He was also petrified of the advancing bomb and my 2 Balistas. As a result, he spent most of the time playing peekaboo from behind the rock, popping out to surprise whoever was carrying the prize with a friendly chill soul before retreating back again. The most realistic prospect was the Wraith and his Morgul Knights, but they just didn't have the power. I still didn't get to detonate the bomb, for the 3rd time in 3 games, but I did win this one. My fear of Sauron and the Wraith did stop me from getting the prize off their board edge, which left me with a measly 3-1. There was a clash of lines at the left-hand side of the rock, but it had absolutely no bearing on the game whatsoever. You know, I haven't played many games against Sauron, and I'm always surprised at how easy he is to counter. It seems like a real challenge to get him to do what you need him to do, given the points investment. Thus, day 1 ended. We took the dog out to run her around a bit, and then brought her inside for the quiz. Then, as the sun set over Stockport, we headed back to the campsite. For some reason, the campsite was absolutely rammed rather than being its usual quaint self. It was just full of people. Ugh. Still, after a power sleep in the world's quaintest dog walk, we were back. Then came a game I was very excited about. After 3 years playing at Scouring, I was finally back on one of the fantastic 3D boards. This time in some Gondorian ruins with a river running right down the middle, giving off some big old Osgiliath vibes. Gethin had brought his Paths of the Druidan, with Theoden, Gamling, Durnhelm, and Garnbury Garn. Now, I've never come across this legion before, so that was going to be an interesting challenge for me. But Rohan v Uruk Hai is themey enough for me to justify this fantastic board, and I was very excited about it. Also, it was my favourite scenario, Fog of War. I chose to kill Eowyn, protect my shield captain, and capture that shrubby little house back there. I chose Eowyn because Durnhelm is a bit of a glass cannon, and people tend to just chuck her in. She's got a great profile for her price, and strike to boot, but she's not that survivable. I chose to protect my own sword captain rather than the 3 heroes I'd have who'd be out of combat, for reasons not yet known to science. I'm absolutely certain that decision won't come back to bite me later. Deployment was more difficult on this map. There's a lot of terrain, so only limited scope for where the Balistas can go. Further, the river is shallow water and is going to make crossing difficult for my Uruk Hai, so I sardined most of them in and the shallows at this end of the board. This meant that the Balistas were unprotected from any cavalry that crossed the bridge. So I left the crossbows behind to defend them, and the rest would awkwardly muscle their way through these buildings at this end, which at least would give them a lot of protection from the cavalry, which can, after all, be pretty brutal.
Priority turn 1. On a 5?
A 1.
Okay. I'm going to assume no heroics from you.
No heroics yet. No.
I didn't think so.
All to you. Oh, actually, yeah, sorry.
He's there.
Garn's going to call a march.
Okay, Garn's going to call a march.
Yeah.
I'm not calling anything this turn.
Okay.
So I'll just crack on with the moves.
Yeah.
My move basically consisted of me occupying these buildings and alleyways. I was truly bottlenecked. I tried to allow as few models as possible onto the shallow water river. Whilst in normal circumstances that shallow water difficult terrain would have given me some protection from the charging Rohan cavalry, because of this Legendary Legion, Gedin had marked out this entire stretch of river to count as open ground as a part of his Legion bonus.
Which makes that my move.
Okay.
Gedin moved most of his Woses, Durnhelm, a couple of riders and outriders up to the bridge. The remaining riders with Theoden and Gamling went right, heading for the town square that formed open ground between his buildings and mine. The crossbows let their bolts loose. The first couple took a rider from his horse on the bridge.
And then we've got 6 more here. They can all see Durnhelm.
Okay.
So 6 here on Durnhelm, in the way for the wall.
Yep.
Well, probably not going to kill her. If I do, then that's fine. Ooh, definitely not going to kill her. 2 hits.
Yeah, that's enough.
In the way to the wall, both passed. Ups and downs. 1 up, 1 down.
Yep.
Horse first. So alive, and on Durnhelm, on Eowyn, she's fine. So on to the Balistas.
Yep.
We'll go at Durnhelm. Let's see what we can do. 1 bolt. That's a miss. Second Ballista, exactly the same. Reroll that for Assault Upon Helms Deep. There we go. Not as fun as I was hoping, but
No, I'll take it.
In return, Gedin managed to snipe out one of the Berserkers on the river, only because he brought a sweaty shooting army. It's really annoying.
Priority turn 2.
Yep. A 4.
3. 4, it's yours.
So it goes to me. Anything heroic, Alex?
No.
No?
No, you crack on.
All right. I shall do.
Good. I hope you have fun.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? I think he did have fun. The last of the riders in Eowyn's group moved up onto the bridge, but the Woses didn't follow. In fact, a group of them broke off and occupied that building in the centre there. Theoden and Gamling's riders headed left, staying 12 inches out so that I could not charge them next turn. Knowing what the riders are capable of if they catch you, I was tempted to back out of those buildings entirely and just let Theoden waste his time on this flank. But that's not very fighting Uruk Hai. We would fight with strength, with honour, and a big old bomb. My crossbows and ballistas had of course stayed put, and on the right hand side, some stragglers were still struggling to get past the river and make themselves useful. Still, there was no use funneling them into the bottleneck. I'd spend a few turns getting them somewhere useful. Gedin's shooting was sadly ineffective, and watch how his face falls when he realises it's my turn.
My shooting?
Yes.
My shooting?
Yes. Yeah.
Lovely.
He needn't avoid too much. A flurry of crossbow bolts killed Eowyn's horse, definitely a disappointment, and a 9-foot spear launched at 100 miles an hour hit a rider in the face. Again, I'm sure a disappointment to that rider, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't so bad.
All of that for a horse.
Yeah, I'll take it, yeah.
At least it's her horse.
So, priority. 4.
3, yours?
So, stays mine. Anything heroic from yourself, Alex?
Don't think so.
Okay.
On the near side, the lines finally clashed. Theoden and Gamling's riders threw themselves into the Uruk Hai's hastily assembled line. On the bridge, the survivors of 3 turns of bombardment elected to take cover by lying down, and the 2 outriders continued their journey across the river. In the shooting phase, Gedin got nothing, but I got another horse and another rider on the bridge. It's taking a while, but I am finally whittling them down.
Combat, fighting.
Death. Yep. You're the one with the hero in there if you want to do anything heroic.
I've only got 2 might there. I'm going to get that fight, I think. So he could move on, but the only next option is another rider. So we're going to leave it.
Okay, yeah.
But it's your priority?
Yes.
Yes, so you choosing.
A rider charge can be extremely powerful, but Uruks are a tough nut to crack at the best of times, and with this Berserker double pike combo, I ended up killing 3 riders without losing a single Uruk in return. I think Gedden had hoped that this charge would allow him to take the initiative. Instead, he either had to abandon the survivors to their fate, or ride to their assistance with Theoden and Gambling, leaving those 2 heroes in prime bombing range.
Not the best Rohan charge in the world, but
No, but Uruk
we
Hai
got
are
some
tough
blood.
nuts.
Gedden got priority, and I called a move with my Uruk Hai captain on this left flank, catching everyone but the bomb team. By the end of my heroic move, I had surrounded the surviving riders and made a new line ready to receive the second wave of charges from Theoden and Gambling. I also wanted to protect the bomb team in the vain hope that they might actually get to detonate it this game. And in that second wave came Theoden and his Royal Guards trying to take supports off the Berserkers. Gambling, meanwhile, inspired everyone by sitting a few meters behind the line holding a big picture of a horse. On the far side, Gedden moved his outriders up from behind the bridge, and using my intense tactical insight, I expected he might be going for that little plinth thing there as his objective. So I sprang into action and I put some Uruks on it. So, excitingly, in the shooting phase, for the first time in the game, the blowpipes had something to do.
Ooh. So this guy stood still, that guy stood still, so we got 2 guys.
Yep.
The guy at the bottom cam with in the way for this.
On the Berserker?
Yeah, so this guy into the Berserker, 3s, in the way, 6s rerolling 1s.
Yep. There's the
Rerolling
one!
1s!
No, I thought the gods would be kinder. They taunt you.
They do indeed.
I'm putting 6 blisters. 6 blisters?
Crossbows.
I'm putting 12 ballistas into this. Jesus Christ! 6 crossbows into these 2.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill them both. We've gotten in the way for the wall. So we'll just take that. We've got just the 2 hits.
Yep.
Pretty poor. In the ways. 1 is through.
Yep.
So on this closest one, up and down. Up. Want that again, please?
Defense 4.
Hey! Only 4, so D4.
Yeah, because no shields.
Outriders.
Now came a big moment. I'd very cleverly managed to get my captain, who I'd elected to defend, trapped here, and Theoden now called a combat. That captain therefore called his own combat in the hope of untrapping himself before being mown down by the King of Rohan.
Cool. Okay. You'll roll off.
Yep. So let's see. 1, 2, 3 is evil. 4, 5, 6 is good.
1, 2, 3, please. Oi.
In a shock twist, I did manage to win the duel roll.
You're trapped, so this twice.
Yep.
So it's 2 5s all round then. 5s all round. He's dead.
That was a close one, but with that win I managed to clamber out of the hole I dug for myself, and I put enough miniatures between Theoden and my captain to ensure his survival for at least one more turn. I also managed to avoid a little bit of self-loathing, which is always a plus. There were casualties on both sides in the subsequent fights, but Rohan undoubtedly bore the brunt, with another 3 riders going down. In the last turn, my captain had learned from his mistake and he fled the front lines. In his place came the bomb, and it was dropped at the feet of Theoden and Gambling. On the other side of the line, the last of the riders moved in. The riders were now stretched thin, trying to hold the line and stop the Uruk Hai from encircling them entirely. On the other side of the board, the heroes of the bridge were still lying down, avoiding the fire, since their assault on the Uruk Hai range section had stalled entirely, without swords ever even having crossed. However, at this stage, I've still not actually achieved any objectives save for protecting my protectee. If Gambling isn't his protectee, and his protectee is actually on the bridge, well, given they're all lying down, he's likely to successfully protect his protectee from my protectee, which I guess makes the bridge the ultimate protector. At any rate, to ensure the game doesn't end in a draw, I needed to break him, and he'd moved his Woses out into the open to try and support the failing Rohan line on the left, and I just happened to have 12 crossbows aiming their way.
So I've got to kill 9. They're all out in the open. I'm going to start shooting this way.
Yeah.
So I've got 6 here. Okay. Force to hit. That's a good roll. 1, 3. Force to kill.
3.
1, 2, 3. Dead. This slot will try and finish them off, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. Ooh, not very
Only
good.
2.
Just the 2. No more dead. Come on, guys. Ballistas.
The first ballista killed 1 more at the end,
I'm going to detonate the bomb with the ballista. Hey, Graham, do you want to witness the glory? Choice check, anything but double 1. It's on?
Yep.
Anything but a 1. Anything but 1, please. It's a 6! It's a 2d6 wounds!
6 Uruks were immediately vaporized, and then it was time for the heroes of Rohan.
On Theoden.
Yep.
7 wounds.
Yep.
Gamling. 8 wounds. Oh my god.
Gethin, watching this back, I feel compelled to apologise for my infuriating smugness. In my defence, it was pretty dope. In the combats that followed, I wiped out all but one of the remaining riders of Rohan without losing an Uruk in return. His target, it turned out, was my captain with shield, who narrowly escaped death. He was protecting Garnbrigarn and trying to get to the terrain that my crossbows were sitting on. Since I broke him and he didn't break me, that was the only points difference, which means I won by 3 points. This was my favourite game of the weekend. Gethin was a fantastic opponent to play, it was a themey-ish matchup and just a stunning board. I had an absolute blast. My next game was against Chris Robson, and he had an army that would normally instill in me the kind of absolute terror I usually reserve for bees and prolonged small talk. Angmar. And not just any Angmar, Angmar with Gullivar, the Witch King, and a Barrow White. And he had an Orc captain to boot. This is also a pretty bad map for me. Tall, completely line of sight obstructing terrain. Gullivar and the Wargs could theoretically jump from piece to piece without me ever being able to get a proper volley at them. That being said, Gullivar will have to spend at least 1 turn in the open, and for anyone who doesn't know him, he is an absolute beast in combat. He can fly, he's got monstrous charge, he can get up to 5 attacks, but whilst he has 4 wounds, he has no fate. This makes him a prime kebabbing candidate for the Balistas. 1 wound from one of those, and it is done. I took first turn priority, which meant I had the difficult decision of what to do.
I'm going to assume no heroics from you.
No, nothing.
Cool, your move.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
I'm so sorry.
6 inches forward for all of these boys. These boys can just go and take the brunt of what's about to happen.
And that's what happened. Chris's troops raced forwards as fast as their little orc and or ghost legs could carry them. The expensive boys tried to stay in cover.
Because they're out of range of it, they can catch up so long as they're within 4 inches of the back line, which they are. I'm moving forward a bit, and it just means that I'm not getting ballisted.
Always nice.
Yes, we don't want to get ballisted for some reason.
Generally in life.
The shooting phase was not hugely successful, with all the fury of my ranged section claiming only a couple of orc scalps.
Over to next turn.
Okay, right, priority.
Priority.
Not that it hugely matters at the moment.
2.
That's a 1. Are you moving anywhere?
Nope.
No, I didn't think so. Right,
I do feel bad.
You should feel bad.
I know.
So we go into Chris's move, and more importantly, I finally realised that one of my cameras isn't working, and fixed it, so we can now get shots of Chris's very appealing face.
Yeah, having to avoid that water.
Yeah, is rough.
It's rough.
Chris is having to work hard to try and make sure that I cannot see him to skewer more orcs with my crossbows and ballistas. He's also been given a great deal of difficulty by the lake in the centre of the board. He can't cross it because it would slow him down too dramatically, but it's causing him to bottleneck up besides the buildings. So far, Lakey might actually be my MVP. Gullivar was still being a bit of a scaredy boy, squeezing in as tightly behind that tower as he could possibly manage. I can't say I blame him.
Cool. Okay, that is my movement.
Cool. You don't have any shooting, do you?
I have no shooting.
So, I think everyone is now in range of everyone.
Yes, everyone, yes.
Everyone on the Witch King.
Okay, right.
The crossbows didn't kill the Witch King, they got just a couple of orcs instead.
Ballistas.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
This is the bit I'm afraid of.
Well, we haven't done so much so far. Witch King from this side.
Yep.
That's a hit.
Yep.
A 6, please. Hey! Bang on. So, in the ways, I think we've got 1, 2, 3.
Yep, I would
so,
agree with that.
2 orcs and a spectre.
Yep.
So, first in the way. So, hit that guy at the front, but he still might propel him into the Witch King.
We hope not.
It's debatable. Inches? 4 inches, I think he will.
Yeah, that'll hit him. That'll get right through the back of him.
The fling was pretty good, killing a spectre and taking the Witch King off his horse.
Oh, I hate Ballista.
I'm not surprised.
I really hate Ballista.
I'm going to go same target again with the other one, I'm afraid.
Yep.
5 is a hit.
Yep.
It looks familiar. Scatter. A 4, so you choose in 3 inches.
Okay. If I pop it on him, that's the only in the way, right?
Yes.
I'll pop it on him.
Cool. In the way.
Goes
Pass. Which is not what I wanted, but on the guy at the back. How many inches? Goes 4 inches.
4 inches.
Before you
And
move
for
him,
the
once
kill?
he dies, he does die.
He does die. Oh my god. That's 7 dead. I'm
hell.
not even gonna reach you.
Right, we're back to priority, I think.
Back to priority. Lovely stuff.
I'm on 4.
I'm on a 6.
Yours?
Not that it matters. Okay.
No, not really.
So, these boys are going to come out and play. They're going to join the party.
Woo!
So, we may actually see combat at some point,
Oh my god.
which would be really nice.
It's a novelty for sure.
It is.
And so the cycle began again. Chris advanced, trying to figure out a way to minimise the possible damage from the ballistas and the crossbows. I'm sure much to Chris's relief, in this round I didn't kill a single model with all of my shooting. That will make a nice break as his army finally closes with my line.
Cool. Priority, I think.
Priority. For 3?
I'm cocked. 5.
5, okay. Are you moving?
I might do a bit of moving.
Okay,
I might do, I
okay,
know.
okay. I'm
It's
surprised.
shocking.
With that move I repositioned my ballista so that it could get shots later in the game from the other side of the house. Meanwhile, Team Evil just continued their inexorable advance. We're now a stone's throw away. Gulliver, meanwhile, finally came out of hiding and made the leap from one tower to the next. It felt like we were finally at the lunge, and Chris's awesomely converted Witch King could lead his orcs into the fray. The Uruks would have to hope they'd done enough damage to tip the odds in their favour. Oh, and of course that Gulliver doesn't shred every last one of them on his travels. And the next turn, it finally happened. Glorious combat. And with my flanking force coming around the right of the house and a solid wall of berserkers and shield boys at the front, I was feeling reasonably confident. Chris smartly avoided many of the sword boys and the berserkers, forcing me to make terror checks if I wanted to charge him because of the Angmar bonus. However, he did tie up all of the crossbows to stop them from getting shots this turn. Then finally, at long last, the big play. Chris used a Spectre to compel a crossbow-toting Uruk out into the open and charged it with a Warg, a Captain, and Gulliver. This may be my one chance to kill it. I only had one ballista who could fire this turn. It is not hyperbole to suggest that that shot might go on to determine the entire game. Chris had been careful, but for all his care, he had made one small error. He'd carefully placed a number of models within 3 inches of the combat, in the hope that I would scatter and he'd be able to choose a target. However, one of those screening models was this Warg at the back, who was not within 3 inches of anyone except the combat. So if I targeted him, he had nowhere else to put the bolt, and it had to go through the combat, meaning a hit on that Warg, and then a failed in the way, would hit Gulliver and the Captain. Now you can't see the fateful dice roll because it went behind that building, but it worked. Gulliver and the Captain were both killed. So was my Orc Crossbowman, but I don't think that was much of a consolation prize. Chris fought on valiantly for the rest of the game. He also played really well, and actually we thought for a while he might even claw it back, but he'd lost nearly half his army to shooting before the lines had even clashed. Only one Uruk Hai died, and that's because I'd killed it. The Orcs simply could not progress against the Berserker double pike combo, and I still had 2 ballistas, now from 2 very different angles, pouring fire in every turn. I also had my bomb, although once again that didn't go off. By the time the game had ended, I was only 1 off quartering him. That left me with a 6-1 victory going into the final game. There was only one person in the end who won all 3 games at Scouring, which meant I had a theoretical shot of getting to the podium if I absolutely smashed my last game. That would be the first time I have ever gotten onto the podium at an MESBG tournament. Let's hope I had another game like Gulliver, which is just an excellent matchup for me. And my last game would be against, oh look, Angmar, with the Witch King, and Gulliver, and 2 Barrow Whites. Before we get into that though, there's some painting to look at. First,
not yet.
it's Chris's objective markers. I was gutted we didn't have an objective-based game, so we could use these. Second was the best display. This scene of Isengard being flooded by the Ents is unreal. Every Ent is fully converted, and there is so many little details everywhere to see. So far as Treebeard wringing the water out of his beard. And as if that's not enough, the whole board then descends down layer after layer into the depths of Isengard. Genuinely inspiring stuff. Anyway, back to my second Angmar match. It was divide and conquer, potentially a slightly more even scenario, but on this big open table, good for me. Being divide and conquer, we deploy in opposite corners. It is a nightmare of a scenario at a tournament like this, where the tables are organised in big long rows and there are quite narrow gaps between them, as you are routinely swapping sides. Whilst I quite like the scenario itself, I do feel like at an event like this where space is at a premium, I would just strike it from the rota. Anyway, enough griping, we deployed in our corners. I had a ballista at each side of the board, and then one ballista was joined by the two smaller warbands. So that means no bomb, but all the crossbows, a bunch of berserkers and pikes. Each ballista then set up atop a hill. On the other side, my leader. Captains in both corners called marches. We can speedrun the first few turns in which the forces in all four corners just sort of saunter towards the centre. For anyone who doesn't know divide and conquer, whilst there are 3 objectives across the centre line, that one in the dead centre on the hill is worth more than the other 2 combined. Before the game had started, Jonathan and I had agreed we'd need climb tests to get up the cliffside, which means whoever gets there first and bunkers up on it is going to have a huge advantage. I think that would go double for me, as I could line my crossbows up on there and they could fire with impunity.
And then all this lot.
Lots of jogging.
I know.
Have you got your steps in for today?
Definitely.
Turn 2 arrived, and we were now in the familiar scenario of trying to hide Gulliver somewhere the ballistas couldn't tag him.
It's currently there. I just want to see for his model.
Yeah.
If he'd be hidden behind this house.
There was nowhere he could really go where he'd be safe from both, and so he decided he'd simply tag up some of the Uruks. Then it was my move, which of course meant a jog around to the other side of the board. I just got my Uruk Hai once again to close in on that hill as quickly as possible. That meant by the time the shoot phase came around, the board looked like this.
As is tradition, we're going to whack a bolt at Gulliver.
Okay.
This my side one first. A 6, I would like that again, please. That's a 5, I'm going to mic that up to a 6.
Okay.
So we randomise to see who gets launched, you or me. So 1, 2, 3, it's going to hit one of my guys for the purpose of fling. It's going to hit yours, your guy. On a 3, he's dead.
Yep.
He's dead.
Yep.
And my guy on the right is dead. My guy on the left is not dead, but is going to be prone.
Yep.
There you have it, 2 Gullivars in 2 games, all from Siege Veteran number 1. That's the one that's pointing, and it belongs to Sam Gibbs. I think he has absolutely earned an MVP award for this one. With that big threat out the way, I was the first to the cliffside. On the other side, my leader's warband advanced unopposed, bringing up the bomb, which would be excellent for deterring big enemies from coming close to the objective. With the help of a heroic move and some decent climb rolls, I ended up bunkering up this corner of the hill first. Please excuse the dog in the background. From then on, it was just a question of standing firm. I left some orcs out and about to slow down the enemy and also to contest the outer objectives. But the problem for Jonathan was I didn't have to do anything clever. It really was all on him to try and dislodge me. As expected, the crossbows did a great job at killing any orcs that tried to approach and fending off the stragglers in combat. Those Uruks unlucky enough to be left behind were mobbed. Eventually, the scene on the hill started to remind me of the lifeboats at the end of Titanic when they're trying to prevent other survivors from clambering into safety. We contested the outer objectives too, with the ever-reliable Berserker double pike combo leading the way. Jonathan put up a good fight for these, but a fair amount of hot rolling on my part meant that I was able to clear out the right-hand objective and put up a good fight for the left. Once again, the bomb did not detonate, but I'm starting to learn that the threat of it might actually be more utility than the detonation itself. Although I do like the detonation bit, that's the fun bit. And with that, I won 5-1. Not enough to podium, but it put me at 6th for the competition. Stuart, who I lost that first game in this video to, came 2nd, so all congratulations to him. However, it does make me think, I wonder what would have happened if he'd rolled a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 to dig up the relic, rather than a 6. Not that he didn't deserve to win, he definitely did. He went to number 2 with a meme list. And he's only been playing for like a year, making the rest of us look like crap, to be honest. So the short answer to the question in this video title, is Assault on Helms Deep still good? Yes, obviously. It's really, really good. Not only did I, a moron, go 5 wins for 1 loss, I didn't lose a single captain for the entire weekend. I did not break once. It is a super beginner-friendly list. There's not a huge amount to think about, and the killing power is remarkable, both at range and in combat. Yes, it has drawbacks. You're never going to get a fight value above 5 unless you bring a troll, which you won't. And you haven't got any cavalry or magic unless you bring a shaman, which you won't. But you know what? It turns out that launching 2 9-foot bolts anywhere on the map, twice per turn, and then blowing up whatever survives is a pretty good answer to a lot of those deficits. It isn't, if I'm being honest, the most fun list to play. A lot of your games end up being a bit samey, and you don't get to do the big hero stuff that Mesbega does so well. But if you're looking to make a Lord of the Rings wargamer unhappy, this is about the best option you have, aside from, I don't know, announcing the release of a diorama. As I say, Patreon MVP is Sam Gibbs for his extraordinary work killing 2 Gullivars. If you want to join the Patreon, of course, links are in the description. If it helps, it would definitely spark a moment of fleeting joy before that, like all emotion, was swallowed by the gaping chasm within me. Or just join the Facebook group, which is the gaping chasm that will consume all of us. Many thanks again to the Patrons. Your support is enabling us to do some bigger and better things, like the next video, which is the road trip to the Pyrenees in the south of France. A huge thank you to everyone else for watching, and I'll see you again pretty soon. And now for a compilation of my B-roll footage from this event alone being ruined, mostly, but not exclusively, by Graham.
B-roll, B-roll.
A bit of B-roll there.
Is that Battle Camp, the problematic YouTuber?
Don't do it, Graham. Don't you dare do it.
Thanks a lot. It's always someone, isn't it? This sounds very familiar. I wasn't even filming then.
That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, okay, join us.
Close the door, yeah.
Every fucking time.
Sorry, was that footage on YouTube? Hello.
Hey.